The Montreal Canadiens have a young team and the number 2 prospect pool in the NHL. Come training camp time, this will mean some good competition for the few spots that are open. Competition's a good thing, but trying to predict who will break camp with a team and be in the lineup on opening night, that's not easy, especially this season. I'm going to try to do just that in this video and hopefully explain why I think what I think and make sense at the same time. That's right here at Talkin' Habs. Hey everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome in. So it's that time to do a very early opening night lineup prediction that I've done every year. It might be a little bit easier this year because I don't think there's going to be too much more as far as movement goes for the Habs. As far as players coming in, if anything, I really think Montreal needs to move some veterans out. And if anybody's coming in, it'll be a couple of young guys, young prospects that need to get some ice time and some experience. So I think that's what it's going to be like. So here's some rules for this video, and it's very important. This video needs rules. So no additional roster moves prior to opening night. So my predictions are based on that there won't be any other moves other than moving a couple of guys out, but I'll account for that here in the video. No injuries leading up to opening night. This roster that I'm going to come up with and give you my opinion on the opening night roster must be cap compliant. Carey Price's contract will only go to the LTIR list after the opening day rosters are submitted to the NHL. So basically, once opening day happens, they can put Price on the LTIR and get cap relief for his $10.5 million. So these are the rules that need to be in place. So opening night is October 11th. It's at 7 p.m. and it's in Toronto. As always, it seems it's always in Toronto, or at least Toronto's in Montreal, but it seems like they're always in Toronto to start the season. And with so many good prospects and young players, trying to figure out who's playing, like where, in some cases, is going to be very difficult until camp gets underway and we start to see if guys are having good camps or bad camps. That's going to affect some things. Competition is stiff at every position with question marks of who's playing with who, basically on every line and pairing. All right, so I'm going to show you the players that are in play, wingers, centers, like that. I'm going to put the lists up just for a few seconds. If you want to read them all, just pause, and then you can read them and move to the next list. So we're going to start with the wingers. So this is 17 wingers on my list. I don't think all are serious candidates, but you never know, right? So there are 9 centers on the list. I mean, I think it's basically between maybe 6 guys that'll play center through the year. We'll see if I'm right. For defensemen, there are 14 defensemen. They're all listed there with if they play right, left, or both. 5 goalies on my list. Jacob Fowler is going to college, so I just thought I'd put him there. But I think, Monty, Allen, Primo Dobis, those are guys that could play here in Montreal this season, and we'll see who I think will start. Now, there's guys that are eligible to go to Laval, and there's guys that aren't. As far as the yes, you got Machar, Farrell, Heineman, Kidney, Elias Anderson, Ullinen, Reinbacher, who I don't think will play in Laval but go back to Switzerland, and Logan Mailloux, who will go to Laval. Now, as far as who can't play there, Owen Beck cannot play in Laval. Neither can Joshua Roy. Why? Because they're 19 years old and they don't qualify under the rules for one season till they're 20. So it's either junior or Montreal for those 2 guys. What benefit does Owen Beck and Joshua Roy get from going back to junior? That's the question here, right? They can't go to Laval because they're too young at 19. Should they stay if they have good camps? And I think that's a big question, right? Because if you feel that these guys will not benefit from going back to junior and you can't send them to Laval, you want to have them in Montreal. But if they don't have good enough camps, you can't really validate that. So they'll have to have really good camps. If Beck and Roy both have really good camps, they're playing in Montreal to start the season. That's my prediction. All right, so I've got what I think are the locks. So that's the players that I don't think are under much competition for their spots. There's not a lot of them, Here's what I think on offense. Caulfield and Suzuki. I don't think they're fighting to see if they're going to play there. Now, could they have horrible camps? They might not have the best camp. They're still playing there. I believe Kirby Doc is their second line center, and he's going to start there. And Jake Evans as the fourth line center, that makes sense to me as being a lock. Unless he gets hurt, he's going to play there. Now, the rest, it doesn't mean like Josh Anderson's fighting for a spot. No, but it's where is he going to play? So this is the question in a lot of spots of who's going to play there, or the veterans, where are they going to play? And it's the same on defense. I think half the guys are locked, Matheson, Gooley, and Savard. I think in that spot, maybe Gooley and Savard switch spots. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. They did that a lot last year, Matheson and Savard. The other three spots are between 4 or 5 guys, that are fighting it out. So there's competition there. When the goalies come around, I don't think there's as much because it's going to be Allen and Montembeault. I listed Allen first there because this is an opening night roster prediction. I think Allen starts on opening night, not because he's going to be the starter or the number one goalie, but because I think it's going to be Monty. And 2 nights later, they're in Montreal for the home opener. And I think that's where Monty starts. On the home opener, he's going to be the main guy, at the very least, 1A. And so there you go. Now we get to the bad contracts. Yoel Armia, 2 years at $3.4 million, virtually untradeable contract because of the performance of Armia over the last few years and the number of years of term and the dollar value. So you can move him if you're giving a big sweetener, and they might do that. But you could waive him, send him down to Laval, and you get $1.1 million in cap relief. Mike Hoffman, 1 year at $4.5 million left. That's tradable. I don't know when exactly, but by the trade deadline, you got to think that's tradable. There won't be much left on it. Habs will hold 50% retained salary, and some team will add him because there's no risk at that point. Brendan Gallagher, 4 years left at $6.5 million. It's untradeable. Why is it untradeable? Because I think down the road it might be tradable. I don't think they'll do that, but it will be tradable. Right now, is he playing? Is he not? Is he on LTIR? Is he not? I think for the next 2 years, he'll be in and out of the lineup and then probably go on the LTIR at some point after that. It's untradeable right now. Nobody's taking Brendan Gallagher for $6.5 million without Montreal giving up something big to a team to do that. But I think there's too much respect for Gally as for everything he's done. He gave his body for this team. I don't think they're doing that by trading him away like that. They'll put him on LTIR like Price is now, and that's what'll happen with him. Christian Dvorak, maybe not fair to be on this list. He's got 2 years left at 4.45. I know I put a slash weird. It's tradable, and he might get traded. But to start the season, Devo is out. According to The Athletic, he will not be ready for the start of the season. I'm not sure exactly if it's a few games or a few weeks. I'm not sure. He had surgery on his knee. I don't know which one, on March 15th, and he is not fully recovered yet. So they could still trade a guy like that because he's not going to be out for a long term, as far as I know. So it's tradable, and it's not a horrible contract. But for the Habs right now, it might just be too much, and they could use the cap relief if they can move that. And they've got enough guys here. Like if say Beck makes it as the third line center, you don't need Devo. And he's earning a lot less than Devo. Now, gone from last season, we'll just do that. Jonathan Drouin. I hear everybody going, yay, and clapping. How come? Joel Edmondson, Dennis Guryanov, and he just signed with Nashville, I just heard. Alex Belzile signed with the Rangers. And Chris Tierney, I have no idea, to be honest with you. One of Justin Barron or Arbor Jacki will have to start in Laval. There's not enough room. 3 spots, and there's at least 4 guys. And I kind of think, I want to say Adam Engstrom might be a really dark horse, but I kind of think he is. Who's going to do that? I think it's going to be Justin Barron. He did last year, started in Laval. I think he does this year. Jacki's physical toughness and play He's tough and he plays physical, big hits. It's going to be too important. And especially on opening night versus the Leafs. They just signed a few guys that are that type of player. We need that in our lineup against the Leafs this year. They got tougher. We'll see exactly how tough, but I think they need him pretty much every night. They need that toughness to protect. There's some smaller guys on the team, Caulfield, there's other guys. I think we need that in the lineup, and I don't think anybody else on defense provides it like Arbor does. Armia, Hoffman, and Price on the 23-man roster, or it's 24, I'm not sure, to start the season equals approximately 82 point something million, like about 300,000. So plus the bonus overages from last year for the young kids, that gets pushed to the next season. So there's like $1.5 million. And that comes to, in my estimate, about 83.8 million, putting them 300,000 over. So that's no good. Somebody's got to move, and it's a small amount, and it's a weird, but somebody's got to move, or they going to be over the cap and have to use LTIR, and that's going to screw things up. So Price will go on the LTIR when the season starts, basically, when you get his 10.5 million in relief. And you got to waive one or two of these three, Armia, Pitlick, or Hoffman, and send them to Laval for another 2 point something million in relief. And that'll leave Montreal in good health cap-wise for the season. Right? So it's actually better to completely move Armia, because then you get the full cap relief, and that really sets them up. So I could see Armia being moved and a sweetener thrown in for someone to take that contract. That's kind of what I would do if I'm Hughes. I'm not. Habs are lucky I'm not Hughes, but that's what I would do. In not buying out Hoffman, the buyout period came and went, and they didn't want to have any dead cap for next season. And if they don't waive him and send him down, the Habs are obviously hoping to get Hoffman playing well enough and regularly to get him producing enough, I'm repeating myself, to draw some interest at the trade deadline and getting some sort of return for him. Last season, no interest, but I mean, the year on his deal, Montreal wouldn't retain salary on that extra year. He wasn't producing enough for teams to be interested. At this trade deadline, with no extra term, with basically $1 million left, Montreal holds on to half of that, and the other team pays about $500,000 to get the guy for the playoff run. I think there's a team that'll do that, because there's no commitment for the next year. It's peanuts, and you get a guy that could help you, especially in the playoffs. So I think that's what they're doing, and it makes sense. So he has to be on the roster. I don't see them waiving him and sending him down. So Pitlick and Armia are the guys that I think are going to draw the short straws there. All right, it's time for me to show you. I've got two, mostly the same, but I think there's two variations that opening night could look like. There's so many options. It's hard. I don't want to just say this is what it is. It's going to be one of these two. That's what I'm going to say. Of course, I could be wrong. All right, number one choice. And then I'll tell you which one is the one I think it'll be. All right, Caulfield, Suzuki, Anderson. I really don't think Anderson's going to be the guy with Suzuki, Caulfield all season. I don't. But on opening night, with Devo out, you got to move somebody into that third line center. Makes sense to have Monahan there. Just to me, it makes sense. So you move Monahan there. You got Anderson moves up one. I think if Alex Newhook has been brought in, he's brought in to be in the top six, not the bottom six. I don't think he was brought in to be a center on the third line. And I don't think Doc is going to play on the right wing on the first line. So Newhook's going to be the left wing on the second line. You start that right away. So you move Monahan to the center. Slavkovsky, I don't think he starts in the top six yet. And I know it's weird what I just said, because I do think he's a top six player. He's got to earn his way there, because he started here last year. You just keep him on that path. He starts on the third line, and if he plays well, he earns his way up Although I don't know where the probably over on the other side though, because he can play both wings. Fourth line. Oh, by the way, Gallagher on the other wing there because he's going to be healthy opening night. Gallagher's got to play somewhere for $6.5 million. If he's healthy, he's playing. Third line right wing. I don't see where else you play Gallagher. You know, it's hard to stomach a $6.5 million player on the third line, but you're going to have to, but not on the fourth line. Fourth line, Evans. I think he's a lock there. I think Harvey Pinard won a spot. I don't think he's in a top six. I don't think he's a top six player. He is a guy that can play in the top six. Yes. He can't play there all the time, though, but I think he plays well wherever you put him. And he's going to do well on the fourth line, on the left wing next to Evans. And then there's Mike Pezzetta. I thought there was some really good play by Pezzetta last year on that fourth line. He's got a one-way deal. I think Pezzetta is in there. He's not costing you a lot, and you need to save some money on the cap. You can't put anybody there making more than Pezzetta. Defense, Mike Matheson, Caden Gooley. Gooley earned a spot there. Matheson for sure there on the left side. Now, Savard and Gooley, maybe you flip them. I don't know. They played Savard and Matheson together a lot. I don't know. Harris and Savard or Harris and Gooley. And then Jack-I and Kovacevic, because Barron is the guy that I think you're going to send down. I don't know that any other defenseman can earn a job. Adam Engstrom is interesting. I don't know. Kovacevic, you got to waive to send him down. I don't think they do that. He's going to get taken. I think Jack-I has to be there. So there you go. I think Allen starts and Monty starts. No, doesn't start. Starts the home opener. The next option is if you're going to play Monahan, Caulfield, Suzuki, Monahan, and then you're going to maybe trust that Slavkovsky's ready for a top six role. Slavkovsky, Doc, Anderson, at least for opening night, gives you a really big second line, and I like that. Hoffman, Newhook, Gallagher, you get some scoring in there. Newhook is at his most comfortable position. Not my favorite line for him, but he played on that line in Colorado. And you keep the Evans, Harvey Pinard, and Pezzetta line there. And I think on defense, I don't think that changes. I don't think there's any change there, and I don't think in the goalie. So it's just a small change. As you can see, by needing to keep Carey Price's contract on the books till opening day, Montreal's already at the cap and a little over, and they'll absolutely need to send somebody either away or via trade or waive them and send them down and demote them to Laval. By being under the cap to start the season, the team will get full cap relief on any players' contracts should they need to go on the LTIR. What do I mean by that? If the team starts the season over the cap, for example, by $3 million, I'm just throwing a number out there, so don't take that number for anything. They will only get a max of $3 million in cap relief on LTIR, even if a player, think of Galley, makes more than $3 million. So if Galley gets hurt, $6.5 million, you're only getting $3 million back. So what? You lose the value, right? So you can't bring in somebody of the same value. It doesn't work. It's not good. It's destructible, if anything. So they got to be under the cap, or at the very least right there when the season starts. To get some of the young prospects into the forward ranks this season, GM Hughes will have to make a few things happen during training camp to be ready for game one. So if they feel that Beck and Roy are going to make the team, they've got to move guys out. And if that means giving Armia literally away with a pick, could be a good one, then they got to do that. They got to do that to clear that space. If Beck and Roy make the team, I definitely expect we'll see the departure of a couple of veterans. I don't see how that happens any other way. I don't think they can make the team, the two guys playing in the lineup, and you still have Pitlick and Armia around. It can't happen. They got to move one or both of those guys if Beck and Roy make the team. My prediction, we'll see how it happens. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thanks for watching this bit of a long video. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think of it. And till next time, stay safe out there. Peace out. And I'll see you next time.